So you want to get into real estate wholesale, but you need a step-by-step. Today we break down what it takes to get into it. Stay tuned.
I cannot lose. I'm a winner. Got money on me now, make them talk to me different. Was blind before, but now it's like they all got no vision. And wanna be my friend now, but I gotta keep my distance. I cannot lose. I'm a winner. Got money on me now, make them talk to me different. Was blind before, but now it's like they all got no vision. And wanna be my friend now, but I gotta keep my distance. I cannot lose ever. I feel like the goal.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Business Atlas, and on this channel I'm here to give you the roadmap to economic and financial freedom so you can lead the lifestyle you want to live. For those who don't know, I'm Atlas. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. New content every week about business and more. Follow me along my journey of success and a whole lot of failure. Now, a lot of people, they overcomplicate things. They run out and look for cash buyers or try to buy the list or all the other things. The first thing you need to do is find a lead and go from there. The best way to find a lead is it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg, but driving for dollars. Driving for dollars is basically, in my opinion, the best way. It gets you out looking at properties, driving around in neighborhoods. It's the best way to get out there and do it. The second way is calling for sale by owners. It's quick, and it's the quickest ways to get the nose out of the way. Now, when you're driving for dollars, you're looking for distressed properties. That is properties that look abandoned, grass is overgrown in need of repair, tarp on a roof. As you run across these properties, what you're going to do, you're going to write the names down. You're also going to look for sale by owner signs. You're going to take all these informations and you're just going to run it, right? You're just going to try to get as many addresses down as possible. You're going to, your thing, what you're trying to do is, right, so what you want to do, you really want to, get out there, and what you're essentially looking for, you're looking for abandoned houses, overgrown grass, things like that, blue tarp on the roof, houses that look like they need some work or no one's not staying there. And then you're also looking for the for sale by owner signs. And you're writing down all these addresses of these houses that look abandoned, all this stuff. And you also can go look on Zillow for the for sales by owner to get their information and call them. Different things like that. That is the first thing to do, is pretty much find the lead. You're going to find the lead, get the information, and go from there. And it's just takeoff season at that point. You want to have the address, the full address, the street name, street number, city, and zip, because you're going to need all that information for later. All right. Once you got all the numbers and everything written down, the next step in the process is contact the owners. The ones where you have the numbers, just set those aside for now. Secondly, the ones you have the address, it's a bit of work. Create a document, a Word document on Google Drive, write down the addresses on the doc, go to the county appraisal, put the address in on that website. You'll get the owner's name, mailing address, save all that information on the document. Once you do that, you're going to do a process that's called skip tracing. What skip tracing is, it's a service where you basically are looking up the owner's contact information, whether it be their phone number, their email, anything like that. It gets you, it lets you find who you're going to be talking to so you can reach out to them and ask about this property and let them know that you have an interest in purchasing said property, right? There are several skip tracing services you can go out there and find. People use Turbo Skip, people use Reskip, people use Empower Supply. There are several companies you can use. On average, they're all about the same price. They all tend to have pretty good data. Now, if you want, what I would suggest, stay tuned to the end of the video and I'll show you a cool way of what you can do for free skip tracing, how you can skip trace your addresses and everything like that on your own of these potential properties you got. Now, that's where the people who want to spend as little money as possible. So stay to the end of the video and we'll talk about that. Once that's done, it's time to cold call or cold text or mail them, whatever have you, or email them, right? So once you have their information, you're either calling, emailing, sending mail. You have to do what you must to get in contact with the owner. Now, when you're talking with the owner, your goal is to simply express interest in purchasing the property. For you yourself or the investors you work with, simply let the owner know you're an investor in the area who's interested in the properties in the area for you and your partners, and this property you'd be interested in purchasing it. They're going to ask, simply how'd you get their number? Simply say I sent out a list of homes in the area that own properties and they aren't living. Those properties come with public records attached to them, including phone numbers, or I go out and get phone numbers, different things like that. You could word it however you word it. When I cold call, I simply, I'm calling and I'm like, when they answer, they're like, hello. And I'm like, hey, Mike. And they're like, hey, who is this? Hey, Mike, it's Aaron. I'm sorry, Aaron. I don't know you. Yeah. Well, I reached out to you. I was interested in buying your property over at blah, 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 right? That right there is like, oh, maybe I've talked to this person. Maybe I never talked to this person. It's a little tips of the trade, something a little tricky, but people, they seem to be more open when I started, using that approach. Your goal here is 3 things. You want to gain trust, find a need or a pain point, and find a way to fulfill their need or heal their pain point. Making money is always the last thing on your mind. Remember that. Now, once you know these are the 3 things you're looking for, the first thing I always tell people, get out the way. Find out if they're interested in selling. If they aren't, well, keep my number. If you ever are interested, give me a call, and you can continue to reach out with them every 3 to 4 months. They or whatever, until they say otherwise. But your goal is to keep reaching out to them, trying to say, hey, I'm interested in purchasing this property. Are you interested in selling it? Right? If they say yes, you have a few things you can do. You can ask a few questions over the phone to find out, the current state of the property from what you didn't see. Some people get the house under contract at a certain number via like sight unseen, with the owner understanding that if there's an issue occurs or if the house is in worse shape, you'll reach back out to renegotiate the contract. If they don't like the renegotiated price, they can walk away. Get the house under contract and submit it to title company, and boom. Now that's one way you can do it, right? So essentially what you would do, you would reach out to the title company. You're like, well, not to the title company. You'll be talking to the owner. The owner's like, yeah, I actually am interested in selling. And so you're asking, is the house in need of repair? Does it need work? What is it looking like? You're basically asking them the questions along the line of, is the house currently livable? Now, one thing I will say, and if you ask any real estate investor, they gonna tell you one thing: sellers be lying. And some of it, they just do it because it comes naturally. Sometimes they're pretty much trying to crook, hook, and jive somebody, get their number, try to get it sold for as much as possible. Sometimes sellers are completely honest and forthcoming with information, so you guys can come to an understanding of what's going on, right? So what you can do if you decide to give them an offer sight unseen, what I would say, you offer them 50% of the total price of the house minus a rough estimate of repair costs. Now, figuring out repair costs, that's a little bit tricky. Sometimes you have to either know a thing or two about, repairs and DIY bills and stuff like that. You don't necessarily have to be a contractor. You just have to know something. Now, me per se, I've done a lot of flooded houses, right? So with the flooded houses I do, I know on average, they all tend to be around 1,800 to 2,000 square feet. And they're all gutted up to about 4 feet on the wall. With all the houses I've done, with all the contractors quote I got on each house, that's roughly $30,000 to $40,000 of repair costs. Now that's with me as an investor, right? That's the numbers I've gotten. Now sometimes other investors in the area, they'll get a bid for $50,000 to $60,000 on the work. So what I'll do, I'll keep that 30 to 40 number in mind for me when I'm contacting or reaching out to a end buyer. But when I'm talking to the seller, I'm using that 50 to 60 just to be safe. Now, there's been times where I've had to use the 30 or 40 just because the seller is a little bit more knowledgeable of repair, especially in my area. It floods a lot, so people tend to know, you know, how much it's going to cost to get the work done. So that's just something you got to know with it. And that's just how it is. You know, you once you do 50% minus 50% times the total price, the ARV, minus repair costs, and then you tack in what you want to make. I always tell people, don't get greedy. It's always better to make $1,000 to $2,000 over nothing and never shortchange yourself. If you can make 20 grand off of it and the deal is sweet enough where the end buyer isn't going to feel like you cheated them, go for your 20 grand. Hey guys, while editing this video, I realized I forgot to clarify something. I'm sorry if I keep looking at the screen. Basically, the 50% that I'm saying, multiplied by 50%, that's essentially if you're buying a house sight unseen, right? That's if you don't know what it looks like in there and you have to just come up with numbers off the top of the head. On the other end of the spectrum, if you actually go see the house, you're usually using, you know, 70% of the total ARV, depending on the market. Some places use 80, some places use 60. It just always depends, but on average, it's 70% times the total price minus repair costs minus what you want to make. So back to the video. Sorry about that. Just wanted to clarify before it was too late. Everybody has to eat, and there's enough money out here for everyone to make it. Whereas in my area, there has been a lot of, I guess you could say, shaming of real estate wholesalers, saying, you know, they're worse than used car salesmen and stuff like that. When me as an individual, I let everybody know, hey, I'm either going to wholesale this property, I'm going to buy it sub 2. That's something we could talk about otherwise, or I'm gonna bring in some other partners to close on it. You know, that it's as transparent as that. You know, we might market the house, we might go from there. And that's just how I do things, right? So once you agree to terms on numbers with the seller, you negotiate the process with the seller, then you get it under contract. It's under contract, now what? You market it to buyers with your assignment price added on. Say, for example, you got a house under contract at 50K, you market it at 70K if the numbers allow it, right? Say, like I said, you got it under contract at 50, right? You say, hey, I want to make 20K on this. Let's say the house is worth 200,000, right? But it needs 60 grand worth of work or 40 grand worth of work. I'm not doing the numbers in my head. So what I would personally do, I'd market it at 80,000, right? I'd market it at 80,000 and see if someone would be interested in buying it at 80,000. If they buy it at 80,000, cool, I just made 30 bands. If they buy it at 70,000, I just made 20, right? That's just a small gist of what you can do. And then what you can do, you can set up a walkthrough of the property or a video tour of the property once they submit an offer. Now, one thing I always tell people to do, especially from my experience, ask for proof of funds, right? That's the first thing you're going to do after you find a buyer who's interested in buying it. You ask for a proof of funds. Hey, do you have the funds to actually close on this? How long are you going to close? We need $2,500 earnest deposit, so you're not wasting our time and we're not wasting yours, right? This is going to scare off a lot of the looky-loos. Now, if you don't want to do the $2,500 earnest money deposit, you don't have to do that. And well, I would do the $2,500. You don't have to do the $2,500 to show the property, but I would do it when they're like, yeah, we want to do it. Let's set up the assignment. Hey, or there's a $2,500 assignment. There's a $2,500 earnest deposit on this contract if you want to buy it. They submit their $2,500, you good to go, right? Once they submit their offer and you find out if they have proof of funds, and once it's delivered, and you explain that there's an earnest deposit with the property, and I always tell people they have to be able to close in a week. If they can't do it in a week, walk away, there'll be other buyers. Now, what I suggest, you'll tell them, hey, we'll lock it up for 14 days or 21 days. You don't have to submit the earnest money deposit. However, if I do find someone who can close before you're able to, I will accept their offer and go with them. Some people might be okay with this, some people might not. One of my cash buyers, he's pretty cool. He's like, you know, Aaron, bud, if you can get it going, if you can get it sold before I can buy it, that's cool, right? So now your offer is accepted. You now send over the assignment contract to the title company. Also, you have, once you, in my state, we use, the purchase agreement I use is the TREC because I'm in Texas, right? So I set up the TREC saying that I'm going to purchase the property, me and or assigned are going to purchase this property for X amount on this day. And then I submit that to a title company. I'll do like $5 earnest, $10 earnest. 9 times out of 10, I don't mention earnest deposit with the seller. I just don't. If they do bring it up, one thing I say that has worked miracles for me, hey, when we genuinely just don't do earnest money deposit on properties. Reason being because we know we're going to close on them. We don't chase houses that, you know, we know we can't buy or we know we can't close. If something does come up where it's taking a little bit too long or a title seems to be a little bit elongated, you know, we'll take $2,500 and put in earnest just so you can see that, hey, we're serious about this and we're going to make this close. We just don't like to put that $2,500 up front, just in case there's a problem on title, a lien you don't know about, or something along those lines where we're out of money, $2,500, and we couldn't have bought this house to begin with. You know, that's what I tell people, and they tend to, they roll with it and like, oh, okay. And I try to be as, you know, forthcoming and honest with people as I can in this business, right? So once you got everything signed and everything explained, one thing I will suggest is once you submit that contract, let them know, hey, if your earnest money isn't deposited in 24 to 48 hours, this contract is null and void, and they just got to deal with it. And we're not taking the house off the market till then. And if they got a problem, bump them. Look, this is my business. This is my house. You won't smoke, you can go elsewhere. Right? Because I still need to get everything done. I can't afford to lose money if you can't buy this house, right? Once everything is in the title company, proof of funds, money is everything there. All the money's there, house is locked up. What then happens is at closing, they reach out to the cash buyer and they reach out to the seller. The cash buyer usually does all his stuff first, signs all his paperwork and everything. And then the end buyer, the seller signs all their paperwork and they get their check. And then what happens is the title company sees that and or assigned and they cut you the check for the difference. You can go up there and get your check or you can get it wire transferred. I have yet to do wire transfer because I like seeing that check. It feels good. I feel like I did something. I've done a few, like it doesn't matter the number of deals that I've done. Each time I do one, I'm like, I want to see the check. And I'm like, well, you know, it's easier. You know, I want to see the check. That's what I'm here for. I don't care about none of that other stuff. I'm here for the check. Like, that's just how I am. And that's pretty much a step-by-step. You drive for dollars, you find a lead. To find a lead, you find a lead, which is driving for dollars or looking at for sale by owners. Those are free leads. You don't have to buy a list or anything like that, right? Once you do that, you skip trace it. And for those who stay to the end to find out, hey, how can I skip trace for free? There's 2 websites where you can put in the owner's name and the house address, and it'll look up the phone number, every phone number attached to these people. Now they tend to have about a 40 to 50% accuracy. I used it when I first got started in the business. It helped me a lot. My first deal, I got the correct number off of using one of these sites, and it's pretty much True People Search and fastpeoplesearch.com. So truepeoplesearch.com and fastpeoplesearch.com. You put in the address, their first name, last name, pop up, boom, let you know, and you good as gold from there. And that's it. You know, but I do have a question. Have any of y'all closed your first deal? If so, let me know how it was. Let me know, in the comments below. What did you learn from it? I know on my first deal, I learned a whole lot. I learned to vet your cash buyers as well. This is something we'll get into later date, but this is just like a quick step-by-step overview of how to get your first deal. If you got any questions, let me know. If you need me to go in more depth on something, let me know. We can get it cooking, we can get it popping. On and popping. Chris Brown, 2004, 2005. 2005. 2005. 2005. 2005. 2005. Bam. Holla at your boy. We here. Everything gravy. But yeah. Also, guys, don't forget, like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, regardless of who believes, live, dream, and succeed. Until next time, guys. Catch you later.